Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk everything animation here, including Amphibia, which we'll be getting into right now. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Michelle Anderer.
Hello.
Alex Bonilla.
Hey.
And Sarah Potter.
Hello.
Today, we'll be talking the first episode/2 episodes of Amphibia, the new Disney Channel animated series that has premiered online yesterday, I think, and will be premiering on TV next week. We've been very excited for the premiere of Amphibia, created by Matt Brawley. I don't know what genre, Isekai, new Isekai Disney show.
Is that an anime thing?
Yes.
Don't worry about it. I have questions for Sarah about this later. But this will be premiering all of next week on TV, and we're just talking the first 2 episodes here. Anne or Beast and Best Fronds. They're on YouTube. If you don't even have a Disney online thing, I think they're publicly on YouTube. Not sure about Country Lock or anything. But yes, we're giving our first impressions on everything Amphibia. So make sure you've checked out these episodes, or if you want to listen to here, if you should check it out. Not really spoilers in the first episode, so you could hear our thoughts on it. Check out overlyanimated.com, where we will potentially have future Amphibia coverage. We'll see. And you can subscribe to us on our YouTube at youtube.com/overlyanimated, or subscribe to us on iTunes to not miss anything coming in the future on overlyanimated.com/iTunes. Okay, first impressions. What do you think of Amphibia? What do you think of the show, the concept, everything, and any sort of reactions you had to watching the premiere of Amphibia, Michelle?
In general, I'm liking the show. I'm kind of wondering why they chose frogs. Not that there's anything wrong with frogs. A lot of frog humor is great. But like, it's interesting that they went with frogs. It's called Amphibia. It's a frog thing. So there you go. But I mean, I like this show. I don't know how to feel about this show yet, because we've only seen 2 episodes. Honestly, Anne seems great. I love her voice. I love her whole spunk and her personality. She seems very believable and relatable, and like an actual human child, which is good. I didn't know how I was gonna feel about Sprig, because the little sneak peek they give us, he's just like so angry at her, and there's no context. It's like, what is happening? These are gonna be friends, but with the context of the first episode, it actually makes a lot of sense. Like, they think she's a monster and she's like eating people, but no, she's human. So I like them a lot together. I can definitely see them becoming legit friends, since they're both kind of odd ducks in their own respective societies, I guess. So that bonds them together, makes sense. I'm curious to see where it goes, but I'm still a little confused about how I feel, honestly, at this point.
Okay, they're frogs, not ducks, but okay, they're...
But they're still odd.
Odd frogs. I think that's the proper
frog
phrase.
/ girl.
Yeah, okay, that's true. One of them is not a frog. Okay, we'll try to sort out your feelings on the show, Michelle, as we go. We'll see if other people have confused feelings as well. Alex, how would you describe your feelings about Amphibia?
Generally positive. I mean,
that's good.
You got to go with the perspective that it's the first episodes, right? So like when it's like that, you always have your expectations like kind of guarded. We've been talking about the show for a while on Discord and stuff before we really knew what this was about. So it's been in my head for a little bit, and so now that it finally exists, it's like, okay, time to take it all in. Anna and Sprig together are nice. I enjoy that Anne very quickly we're already getting like a little bit into her worldview and like how that's going to impact her character later. At the end of the second episode, we get some intro into actual story, which feels kind of quick in a way that this group feels kind of similar to the DuckTales pilot, because that was also a thing where it was on YouTube, and it's like the first half is introducing you to the world, and then the second half is like an adventure episode of them working together, and then at the end is like the plot reveal. So like DuckTales, the pilot followed a very similar format to the first 2 episodes of Amphibia, and I think it's a good way to dive you into to hook you into saying like, okay, like there's something here for me to follow the show with. I got the characters were already getting chemistry with each other, and I got story elements to think about. So I enjoyed that, and like the smaller details, like I just think that the atmosphere of this show is very cozy. It's kind of quiet at times, but because of that, when they do like little fun sound effects, like it feels like that's kind of a unique thing about it. The design of the monsters is definitely interesting. So I think that there's a lot of little pieces here that are pretty fun, and the 2 episodes overall, I think they work. They work for the most part for me.
Nice. Okay, so some positive reactions here from Alex. Sarah, what say you about Amphibia?
I think I'm a little more down on it, but that's because I think these are the first 2 episodes. I'm a little disappointed in the plot choice we took in the second episode here. Like, I didn't really like that. I'll talk about like the specifics later, but I didn't really like the specific plot there. I liked the overarching plot that we hinted at the end with Anne's friend trapped with the toad. Like, that was interesting. But a lot of the humor and a lot of the characters, they seem to be making jokes that are kind of not connected to the people they're talking to. Like, it feels like the jokes are written in a vacuum almost, if that makes sense. Like, it feels like we're just making a frog joke, and it doesn't matter which character I'm talking to when I'm making this joke. And I hope that we evolve past that, because good humor is when, like, you play off each character with each other. Like, and I think that's just because we're being introduced to the characters, but and that's hard with the first episode. We have to learn about the characters and be interesting and entertaining, and I need a little more here still. Like, I like the world. I like the hook of, like, Anne had this music box and had these friends that weren't that great, and they had her steal, and then she opened, and now they're there. Now they're in this world, and I'm interested in why this world is like this, and the giant bugs are cool, but I need a little more with the characters right now. I need a little more with the chemistry between the characters specifically.
Okay, yeah, I could see what you're saying with the specificity of the jokes in that. Certainly don't think the character's too well fleshed out yet. Yeah, which a little bit understandable. This is first episodes of shows. But I don't know how. Yeah, I like Anne. I like Sprig a lot more than I thought. I guess going into the show, I was very interested in Amphibia. I mean, it's just a major animation offering from Disney, but also I'm a fan of Matt Braley's already going into this, and but the thing is, I don't know like how I felt about the concept. I guess I feel like this was announced with Owl House, and Owl House was like an inherently interesting concept. I guess it's like magic. It's like all these. I was like more pulled into it. It's like it's frogs. Okay, I don't know. Frogs are fine.
That's how I feel. I'm like, why is it frogs? Like, there is like this deep frog lore we're gonna get into with the music box or something. But for now, it's like, why is it frogs though?
Because they're cute.
Are they?
I think if this was cats, I would be a lot more interested.
Oh my god, yes, a cat.
Don't get Michelle started. That was a mistake.
You're the one who started it, Dylan.
I know. I knew that was happening. But I think I'm just not sold on the concept. But this, like, the execution of the world, it's gorgeous. I mean, the whole the show aesthetically, as evidenced by the intro sequence, which was the thing we're most excited for, probably because that's the one thing.
It was the only thing we had.
That's the only thing we had. The intro song is really good, and I also love the visuals behind it. And we also got introduced to the end credits in this episode, which I think are also fantastic visually and the music. So it's like the animation quality is really fantastic. It's I like the aesthetic, I guess, and the music. I guess that's the point, I shouldn't get hung up on the frogs because it's like I don't know if I would watch a frog isekai on its own, but that's maybe not the point here.
You got Anne though, yeah.
Yeah, Anne's cool. I do like Anne. I think this is a strong introduction. The first episode I was a little tepid on, but it was an above average first episode for a show. I actually liked the second episode quite a bit.
Me too.
I think I think it was fun. I did think it was funny. I think especially the little sister. And I think that the bond between Sprig and Anne was really well developed in that episode. Even if it was kind of like Alex may have said boilerplate. I didn't know it followed the DuckTales premiere this closely, but maybe it's like a boilerplate Disney animation premiere. I think it worked in establishing Sprig and Ann. Sprig was, it's like, it's a frog boy. How am I going to like him? No, I actually do like him. He seems like a good character. So I do think this is like a pretty strong premiere. But I'm interested to see if the show can draw me in, because I'm not as inherently invested in the concept as like Summer Camp Island. We just that was also this weekend, new episodes came out. I'm like, I just love the Summer Camp Island world. It's so fun. This world I'm like much less sold on, so I'm interested to see if the show can draw me in more to this. Michelle, what stands out to you from watching the premiere? Is it the weirdness with the frog world? Is it the Anne and Sprig and the characters? Like, what do you think's at the top of your mind here?
Oh, definitely Anne and Sprig. Followed by the plot of the magic. I don't even know if it's a music box, but it looks like it has like a little wind up on the side, so I'm just assuming it's something. Anne and Sprig are great characters. I think they play off each other well. They're very genuine and believable, and they don't feel tropey, and that can be surprisingly hard to pull off. And also to stand out against so many other like just amazing shows we've got in the past couple of years. I really like Dylan. Me and you both seem to like Sprig more than maybe we were expecting, but I think it's because like he's not like I guess I was afraid he was going to be like this cocky jerk who like really had to warm up to Anne before he would like take her seriously or something. And that's not true at all. If anything, Anne's kind of a worse influence on Sprig than Sprig is on Anne at this point. And that's because she's got to unlearn some really harmful concepts of friendship she's had going on in her own life. But I really like them together. I genuinely see them forming this friendship bond this quickly, even in 2 episodes. Like, I believe it, and it seems legit, and they vibe with each other in a way that feels believable. And that's like really nice, because like the characters are what I'm going to stick around for. Like the frog stuff, it's interesting. I don't know how I feel yet, but like that's not the point. Like as long as Anne and Sprig are good, I'm going to be good with the show.
Okay, yeah. Alex, how do you feel about Sprig and Anne and their bond?
Well, I enjoy them together. I'll say that I think I prefer Anne to Sprig right now. I think that Sprig, he's got a bit of the always positive, upbeat thing where, like, right now it's not bothering me, but I could see it getting bothersome if he sticks to that. But I do think that, like, Sprig and Anne, when they are, like, interacting with each other, like, it ends up working really well, especially in the second episode. And, like, they have their teamwork and their deeper conversations about friendship and like how Anne sees it, and Sprig like hesitantly like going along with it, but like he realizes that maybe something's not right here there. But so I think that them together works fine. I think that Anne definitely has more interesting stuff going on in terms of like as Michelle said, like unlearning some toxic ideas about friendship, and there's definitely stuff to explore there. Whereas with Sprig, I don't think we really have that, aside from like the one detail is like, well, I don't really fit in. And in the first episode, it's like, oh, well, people see me as irresponsible. But that's like, very, very basic stuff that I couldn't really get into, as opposed to what they put with Anne. So Sprig on his own, I still need time to really buy into him, but I definitely see the relationship between Anne and Sprig already being pretty strong, and that alone can carry the show for at least a little bit of time.
Okay. So we're Sarah, everyone's feeling. Are you also feeling the Sprig and Anne bond, and also some divisiveness on Sprig as a character? How do you feel about him?
Sprig sometimes is okay. I guess I feel Anne a lot stronger than Sprig. TBH. I like Anne a lot, and I think Sprig pulls the whole show in a different direction than I like. Like Anne pulls the show in a direction that I like. It's a little more mature. It's a little more emotional. I think when it's just her talk, like when I see like just the flashbacks, like I understood what her story was. Like I got it. It was interesting. And Sprig, it just feels like he has nothing right now. And again, it's the first 2 episodes, I know, but I would have liked if we got a little more to Sprig than just, oh, he's a little rowdy and he doesn't know how to like not be a rowdy kid. You know what I mean? Like I want a little more than that from Sprig.
Okay, let's keep diving into Sprig. I think it's an interesting. We're divided here on Sprig as a character. I feel like Rowdy is true, but I feel like Sprig is very precious and good. Like he never everything he does. I feel like is good. I guess the first episode there's a thing where it's like he needs to prove he's responsible. But in the dynamic in the second episode, Sprig's the one that doesn't want to go into the pond. I almost feel like Sprig is a take on so we have the typical male lead, which is kind of like somewhat of a jerk in TV, and then we have the subversion of that, where in a lot of our shows now
the sweet boy,
the sweet boys, exactly. And and my question is, Michelle, I have a nomination for you to the Sweet Boys. Is Sprig worthy? Because I think he's not quite in the Steven and Oscar mold. He's a little bit more of like the energetic rowdy, but I do think at his heart, what these episodes are telling us is that he kind of has this gentleness and sweetness at his core.
I think he is a pending contender to the Sweet Boy Club, and that's because I will be completely honest. The two moments that sold me on Sprig. The first one was when he says, like, I haven't really been able to make friends ever before. You get the flashback to these two frog kids playing, and he's like, "Hey guys, look!" And like he thinks he's making a funny joke by like being eaten by the skull, but they're freaked out. And he's like, "Oh, I'm just kidding. Oh no!" And then he like slides down its skull body. Like that killed me. And I honestly thought there was a great moment of just like he doesn't quite get why like how to like appeal to the average child his own age, because his humor is so different. And like that again, like if Anne has these two friends that like aren't actually very good friends, like she kind of seems to struggle in that department too. So like it's a very good reason for them to vibe with each other and to get along so well. Like they both don't have a lot of friends. They both kind of feel like they don't fit in great. So then of course, like, yeah, they'd fit in with each other. So like that for me did wonders for his character. Like I feel like I really got a sense of like him trying to connect and just kind of failing, but not because he's mean. His humor is just kind of different from other kids. The second thing was like when Anne was pushing him to go into the pond, and she's like, "You like, aren't you supposed to be my friend?" He's like, "Well, yeah." And he's like trying to do the right thing. She's like, "Well, then you gotta do the bad thing." And he's like, okay, if this is how friendship works and I've never had a friend, I'll listen to you. Like, again, like he's deferring to her. And for me, that makes a big difference. Like, he's not acting like he knows better, even though he lives there. Like he's willing to make sacrifices for this new friendship. And that to me makes him a little sweeter than obnoxious.
Okay, but I don't think a little sweeter than obnoxious is the criteria for the Sweet Boys Club, which is why he's only pending.
Well,
he's only pending for now. Okay.
Yeah, to be fair, Steven at the very beginning of the show was sweet but a little obnoxious,
Oh
so it can be a development.
He's time to grow. Okay, yeah, I think the second episode presents this really interesting dynamic between Sprig and Anne, where Sprig hasn't really they both don't like know what good friendship is, and that's because Sprig hasn't really had friends, and it's because Anne's friends aren't good friends. So they're both, I think, like it's a really good position to start their friendship in, where they're both going to learn how to have this good friendship between each other, kind of for the first time in their lives. And that was like an interesting dichotomy that episode presented pretty clearly. How about Anne here? So we're seeing what's Sprig, but some positivity maybe. And we see. I think we're all positive on Anne so far.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anne, I think interesting for female leading, that she does have a little bit of a quote unquote darker side to her. Mostly seems like from the influence of her former friends. But she's at the very least, I don't know, rambunctious, like wants to break rules. Also, similarly energetic to Sprig. Alex, so what's connecting to you about Anne so far?
Yeah, I mean, I think she doesn't. She's making her own decisions. She's working with the worldview that she has. She wants to just do. I mean, like with the second episode, it's like she wants to go have fun in the lake no matter what. And she uses what she's learned from her friends to get Sprig to go along. And like in the first episode, them like meeting each other, and Anne is like trying to go along with it, and then like her kind of shock when she gets captured by the rest. It's like, hey, I thought we were building a bond. And so I think that Anne they let her go through like a variety of emotions, and so it makes her feel a little bit filled out already, even though we've only known her for 2 episodes. And she works with Sprig pretty well when like the action sequences at the end of each episode. She ends up trusting Sprig at the end of the second one, where she like lets him sacrifice himself, and she immediately rages out. So yeah, I just think that Anne, like they let her go through a lot of different emotions. She like does have a couple of jokes here and there, but otherwise she's kind of like along for the ride. So it's early, so that you can like project a lot onto her if you wanted to, but there's nothing that puts me off Anne yet, and so that's a great sign.
Okay, that's good. So we have Sarah here is a Isekai and Sword Art Online expert. So Isekai is an anime genre where someone gets transported to another world. I know I've been saying that. That's what this show is. So I'm very interested in Sarah's perspective on Anne as a Isekai protagonist.
So explain what that is.
Okay. I will mention the worst show ever, SAO here, Sword Art Online, Michelle, where Isekai means like where your main character enters a world or is stuck in a different world and they have an adventure there. Like in Sword Art Online, it's an online game. And it's a horrible show. It's very problematic. That's not the point. The point is that Sword Art Online had a lot of tropes in it. And it had a lot of these tropes that a lot of other shows, a lot of other isekais use. It wasn't really the source of them, but it did popularize a lot of them. And I'm glad you brought this up, Dylan, because I was going to say I can't talk about why I like Anne without mentioning Isekai, because
contrast to Kirito, please.
I'm not going to. I'm not going to. But I will say that she avoids a lot of the normal pitfalls, because one of the big things in Isekai is that usually the character that enters this world has a couple of things that make them stand out and make them not like, this isn't an action show, so it wouldn't be like powerful, but it would make them important, I guess is the word. But here, all Anne has is just that usually if this was a different show, if this was like an anime, she would have some kind of knowledge, some kind of like, she would like look on this world and be like, what are you guys doing? This is wrong. Like she would have some kind of knowledge from her world that she would use to judge this world and tell them how to do things better or something. And that's not where the show is going at all. Instead, it's just Anne is entering this world and willing to be part of this world and not be She doesn't want to be an outsider in this world. And I think that's the difference from other isekai shows and other things like that. She clearly just wants to integrate and have friends and just live there. And that's, I think, a better take in this kind of instance. And I like that a lot because Anne just is she's young. She's a kid. She wants to have fun. And this place is already more fun than the world she came from. And that says a lot on its own. But she's just having fun here. And I'm glad they went that direction, because she could have like gone here and been like, you guys are frogs. Why don't frogs do this or something? And I'm glad they're not doing that. Or she could have something on her phone that makes her special, but it's just a phone. Like it's fine. Like I really like it. I like this take they have.
Yeah, I think Anne already more interesting than every isekai protagonist I've ever seen. So that's a good start. Yes.
Well, and I'll say, like, you make an interesting point about her wanting to integrate, because we do in the first episode, like, get very quickly. It's like, well, I want to get home, but I have no idea how. And then, like, at the end, it's, well, I'm stuck here for a couple of months. Well, I guess I'm stuck here, Yeah. And then, like, second episode, we don't really reference it at all. So, like, it's basically a situation where she's already, like, coming to terms with, well, I'm stuck here, so I might as well, like, get down. So I'm fine with that setup of where it's like, we know that the eventual thing is her wanting to go home, but it's fine being in the background. It doesn't need to be pushed in our face every episode. And I think that's a good decision.
Yeah, and that's the other big thing in Isekai. It's like either the plot is they're trying to get home, and that's the driving plot, which is kind of like it's a very it's like not a very like easy to grasp concept. Like, I need to get home. Like, it can be anything. And that's just kind of boring, I guess, because there's no real focus, because it's just like, I need to get home, and they can just have the plot go whatever direction they want on that path. But this is just, I want to integrate, and we've seen these characters, so we know what the goal is. She just wants to have friends with the characters we've seen in the first 2 episodes. And that's something, after 2 episodes, we can grasp, and I like that.
Yeah, I think so. A little bit on the topic of kind of where we're going with this. I think it's not clear yet how narrative heavy of a show this is, because the end of I think the second episode is promising in that we get a clear kind of plot direction. Both these episodes are one after another. Seems serialized so far. That being said, I know a lot of episode descriptions for the future ones that are airing seem very slice of lifey. But it's a little unclear. Disney shows do I think if this is a Cartoon Network show, I'd say it definitely is not going to be serialized in the first season. The Disney shows maybe have more of a chance, although Star was still so episode to episode to a certain extent. I mean, like, what do you think of the plot? Is there anything that comes to your mind in terms of like what you'd want to see from the plot of the show? Do you even want this to be a plot heavy show? Like, Michelle, do you think it can succeed? It's more of a slice of life show, or do you think we need to get into some more plot here?
They introduced plot right off the bat, so I think it's something that might take a more prominent focus in the show versus other shows. And I think that's actually going to be a really interesting idea, because you have this whole component of this object that can transport you to another world. So that sets up a lot of questions, and it implies a much bigger world out there that they could interact with potentially later. So honestly, I mean, it's too soon to tell what their goal is and how it'll work. But if this was even like a 40-60 or 50-50% plot to character slice of life show, I think that could potentially work really well, and I'd really like that. I mean, like, I feel like that's kind of how like some of Star was for a couple seasons. Not the first season certainly, but like the second season for sure. And that was that was the season I was most engaged. So it depends on where they want to go with it, but I think it could potentially be a more plotty show than a lot of the shows we have. And that could be a really good thing, because it could balance out the stakes, right? Like, you have the more intimate stakes of like, all right, she's integrating with this town of frogs. You need to warm up to her. She's learning how to be a good friend with Sprig. She's learning more about herself. But then the larger thing of like, oh, is she going to find out the Sasha's in the world and that third girl? And how are they going to deal with that? And then also all the frog magic. Like, what the heck? So there's like 3 things already they could focus on. And I like potential. And I like that there are places we can go. And yeah, I'm curious. I think it could honestly be more plotty, though, is my full takeaway.
Yeah, I think yeah, go ahead, Sarah.
No, I just want to say, like, I don't know if it's I don't know if we should put a lot of stake in this ending part with like the plot at the end of episode 2, because the pilot of Star ends with Ludo. It ends with him like going like, we're gonna get the wand and Buff Frog and Toffee, and still like that whole season was very, very serialized. Like, I don't know. Like, I just don't think we can tell from this.
We can't tell, but I think the potential's there, right? So if they wanted to go that way, like, I would believe it and be interested either way.
Yeah.
And
Star season 1 mostly episodic with maybe some so there's still some plot in it, I guess. It still ended with some plot. Yeah, Alex?
Well, like Star versus the Forces of Evil, like it doesn't like get back into like deep story until like near the end of that season. And then also DuckTales as well. Like it does the thing at the end of episode 2 where like drops the plot thread. And then like it does get touched upon throughout the first season, but like in between is like a bunch of like, adventure, self-contained adventure episodes. And I think that a format like that seems like very close to what Amphibia could be as well, where we keep touching upon this story that's like developing in the background, but the focus is going to be on Anne and Sprig and like developing out their relationship. Similar, also like Star versus the Forces of Evil, the first season took its time to develop the relationship between Star and Marco, because that was going to be like the center of the show. And if that's what Amphibia is going to be too, where it's going to be Anne and Sprig, so it makes sense for them to focus a lot more time and energy into just like them having fun adventures together that like begin and end. head. And then like every like 5 or 6 episodes, you touch back onto the overarching story, just like DuckTales would be doing even up to now. So I think that's more what I'm going and expecting. Like it'll be touched upon once every batch of episodes, but I don't expect it to be a thing where it's going to show up that frequently.
Yeah, I'm not optimistic for a lot of plot right away, mostly from the descriptions, also from there's kind of like network templates that new shows seem to follow for animation networks, which I think I don't like because it's not leading to enough show diversity. But not that there can't be, and I think there's a lot of unique elements to Amphibia. The thing, I think some shows can succeed without having a lot of plot in them. Like Craig of the Creek is the best example. Craig is just fantastic when not having any plot whatsoever, and it was from very early on. Other shows feel like they really need plot. Maybe a good example of that is Victor and Valentino, which we weren't connecting to as much from the early episodes. That's a show that could totally be awesome if it had more plot in it. I'm worried Amphibia is more in the latter category just because I'm not as invested in the concept, like I said. And also, I think another note is the town itself, I guess, Wartwood. It's kind of like a Starversian medieval town. It seems like I don't know how much I'm interested in that yet. Whereas I think the stuff with the other friends and all that seems a lot more interesting to me. The one thing that I think could really keep the show going, though, is the dynamic between Sprig and Anne and their relationship after the second episode, which, if we follow the outline that Alex presented, is what we mostly focus on. So I think that could be good because I really did enjoy the two of them in the premiere. So I think that's potentially a thing that'll ground the show, but maybe if we got more to, like, will this be more of a Gravity Falls or more of a, I don't know. DuckTales is plot though now, right? Like, so it's Disney shows, I think, it as a whole have more plot infused than some others right away. But Gravity Falls also, though, didn't have super heavy plot elements for a while, and that was like seen as like a very heavy plot show. But it did take a while, like even throughout the entirety of season 1. So I think we'll see on that, but maybe we're expecting it to take some time here with the plot. But about the plot, though, so the end of episode 2, I think is very interesting. We see one of Anne's other two friends, Sasha, is being kept prisoner by evil frog dude in a castle.
Yeah, that's the thing. So that's an entirely different location. They have some kind of ordered system outside of this one town. And is it evil? Like, it seems menacing. So that's why I'm more excited about potential for plot, because we've already had like 2, 3, if you count Earth, separate locations to dip back into characters with. So I feel like that'll make, because like I agree, I'm not totally sold on the town stuff either, but if we get to go to like evil castles, like that piques my interest for sure. So that's a good point. This seems to not be in the town, so we could have other locations here. Yeah. This dude's name apparently is Grime from the credits, I guess. Sarah, how are you reading this situation with Sasha and Grime?
I'm not sure. We had 2 words.
I know, 2 seconds of it.
For what it seems like.
Is Sasha evil? She's being kept prisoner, though. Grime is Grime evil?
The bigger thing is there's clearly something going on with this box, and clearly the Toads want it for some reason.
Yeah.
And that implies to me that there's some reason they want to go somewhere. My inclination from this box is that it doesn't just go to Weird Frogland, because only goes to Weird Frogland. I am really confused about this whole setting. Why is there a box that takes?
Well, where else would it go?
Yeah, because it has frogs on the box, so it makes you think it goes to Frogland, right? Yeah.
Well, maybe it's like a 2-way transporter. So now that it's back in their world, they're okay, we can go to Earth now. Invasion. Yeah.
I feel like it's a treasured.
You know what it is? I'm sorry. I know what this is. This is that box from Dragon Tales.
Oh, you mean the box with the scale inside. Totally. Yeah.
What? I'm curious about what other worlds this would go. Would it go to Cat World, Dog World?
Yeah, that's what I thought. But if it has frogs on it, I guess not. Unless frogs are mystical and they can take you anywhere.
Can we compare and contrast to the Kappas in Sarazanmai? How about no, not that. Yeah, okay, yeah, but Alex, any Sasha takes?
I think she is very annoyed with her current situation based on her pose at the end there, where she's just kind of like giving a Grime a very mean stare. The Grime says something about how like you've been lying to us. There are more of you, so it seems that Sasha was trying to hide the. I mean, I don't know if she's aware that the other girls are also have also been taken. Yeah, maybe not, but also maybe she was hiding it because she already gets the vibe that this dude is no good, and it's like, well, I'm not going to rat out my friends because snitches get stitches, and which seems like a thing that these people would have taught Anne in the first place. So, so I think that Sasha is just. I think she's innocent for now because she's like stuck in a place that she doesn't know. I like I like the idea that the bots is like some kind of like transporting situation that the guy can use for evil purposes, but there's obviously not much to go on here.
But the thing is that if the box only goes to Earth and Frogland, does that mean the toads are trying to go to Earth? It's like that like why though?
Why do any like interdimensional travel happen?
This world is so weird. Like Beauty was weird, but I understood it. This world is weird.
Did you?
But like this world, like I don't have any grasp of why anything happens in Frog World.
Well, again, we've only seen 2 episodes. My thought with the box is that maybe the box has a mind of its own, and it just leaves the Frogland sometimes and shows up in a different dimension. And you can access Frogland from anywhere you find the box, but you can't go to other places except maybe. See, that doesn't actually make sense. I don't know. You think there are only 2 worlds, but you think if there's a whole world of frogs who talk and wear clothes and have like wheelie carts, that there would be other worlds too.
I don't know. Yeah, I know. Like that's the other thing. Like, why is it like if there's Frogland, there should be other places too. Like,
is Amphibia secretly just going to be a huge interdimensional show with a lot of? And this is just the first one we go to.
That's kind of what I'm kind of expecting.
We're going to get the spin-off of Reptilia by 2022.
Oh no, but here's the thing, though. To be honest, like to give weight to this, like there's not a lot of like variety in Amphibia. And I'm not saying that it's a mean thing. Like I'm just saying like we have these dense forests and this town, and like we had this lake. But I mean, like there's not a lot of variety to locations you can do with what they've shown us so far. And if that's true, it wouldn't be that surprising if we go to other equally specific dimensions with worlds like this. And that would be interesting, I think.
I'm kind of digging this. Like, what if the Amphibia world's just so kind of generic to us and not clicking as a concept because it's not the real concept? Like, what?
Yeah, like
that would be good.
This is just where they start.
If they just hang out around town and just do normal stuff they'd normally do with like human characters, except sometimes there's like a snake-o in the water, that doesn't seem like a good enough reason to have it be a Frogland. So yeah, maybe it's because they aren't going to stay there forever and they're going to hop around and make it more of an adventure show. Because that's the appeal of going to another world, right? You get to go on adventures and see magic stuff and be a hero.
Yeah, I don't think we're. I mean, I think it would be cool if we went to a lot of, but I don't know if that's actually happening. But I will say the Amphibia world. I do think the point Michelle made before. This is just like Wartwood that we've seen so far. Maybe there are other interesting locations within the Amphibia world. And should be noted, we establish in the first episode that the town is surrounded by mountains that'll clear up eventually. So maybe they're like stuck in this one location and we do some slice of life stuff for a while, and then like there's other cool stuff out there.
There's a whole map that the guy pulls out. So and
that's true.
It reminds me of Craig of the Creek, right? Because that all takes place in like a forest, and there's a map of like different locations in the forest. But at the end of the day, we're stuck in the forest for the entire show. But they make it work, and I think that we are fine. The setting is not the issue here, in my opinion.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying the setting's bad. I'm just saying like this is. I'm waiting to see more. I'm waiting to see more variety, and I think it's equal. I think the same. I think my predictions pretty much the same if like they get out of the mountains, and there are those very specific locations outside of the mountains too. Like that's equivalent to what I was talking about. Like there's
like in Muni, they're different kingdoms, but they're all on the same planet. Like in Star, maybe it's like that. I could see that.
We have we have feline. Yeah, I don't know how to
feline town.
Within Amphibia, there's a cat town, or so. Yeah, I don't know. They don't need to be animals, but we're inviting that by making a frog world.
Oh no, they're definitely animals. There's no way they're not.
My reaction to the show being about frogs, by the way, is I'm not the guy from The Good Place, the guard who's like super into frogs.
Oh my
it's like
maybe you would
love this show.
I love that
knows
guy.
About it.
I think
so
of him
happy.
when I think of this show. Like, he was just watching that show now. Let's hit on the other characters besides Sprig and Anne. I think the main one is Polly, little sister, who sassy tadpole. I think she's great.
Yes.
She's
got the undercover killer vibe.
Yeah.
I don't like it at all.
What? You don't like Polly, Michelle?
No.
Explain.
Because, okay, I'm just going to say I'm so glad that we're getting into stuff with, like, Sasha, potentially, too, because my only other concern for the show is, like, all right, we have a main protagonist. She's a lady. She's spunky. That's nice. Are all of her other friends she ever interacts with going to be boys? Because that's not good if that's true. And she's the only one. So they have Polly. Her whole thing is that she's like really tough. And that's the joke. I don't like that. That doesn't make an entire character. I think it's supposed to be funny because she's a little tadpole girl. But like, that's not enough for me. And Anne she's well-rounded enough and has actual stakes and like character drama going on coming into it. But Polly feels so one note. I hope she ends up having more to do because just being menacing is not a personality. The same way being a strong female character is not a personality. We need to move past it. So I'm excited for Sasha for that reason because if it wasn't for Sasha, all we'd have is Polly and then Anne and all the boys of the town. And that's just not good.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. When we anthropomorphize things, they tend to all be male. We talked about this, I think, before on the podcast. Like, random things that talk are always like male. And but yeah, I mean, I think we could see development from Polly. I think that's possible. It's a good point. She is pretty one note for now. Yeah. It is the joke of like baby is menacing. Yeah. It worked for me, but I can understand that viewpoint as well. And other Polly takes.
I think Michelle, I agree with Michelle. She's pretty one note. Like, I think the Hop Pop is similar. I think he's pretty one note as well. Like, I enjoyed
the
Polly,
Hop
though.
Pop.
Yeah. I enjoyed Polly, though. Like, I liked the jokes, but I mean, right now, she's pretty much just a gag. She's not like a character to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. I also think she had, some of the funniest lines, but I can agree with that. We have Hop Pop.
I like Hop Pop. He's
Hopadaya.
Hopadaya.
Hopadaya. It's got a good name.
I don't have a lot of thoughts on him.
He sleeps with his eyes open. That's an old man thing. Do old people do that in real life?
Did they train for it? Maybe.
I haven't seen it.
I'll be honest. Hop Pop is the main reason why I was down on episode 2. Like I think he's just problematic. Like, I don't like him. I think he's
problematic.
Like, just think about it, Dylan. He invited a young girl into his house, and then he locked
her in. Oh my god!
Their social norms are not the same. They're frogs.
Dylan, kidnapped a young girl.
That's the thing. They all sound like they're from the South.
That doesn't make it better.
Tree pumpkin frog town.
He adopted her into his son, his friends, and they're.
I don't like it. I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable. He took this girl to his house. He locked her in the house. And the end of the episode wasn't resolved by them saying, "Hey, we should be allowed to leave." It was resolved by, "Yeah, it's good that you locked us in the house." It's like, I don't like it. And the whole episode is that Anne's okay with it.
Sarah.
Okay, that's a good point.
I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable. Like, and I know that's not what they were going for. Like, to be clear, I know they were going for it as a gag. I just don't like the implications of the gag. That's all.
Okay. It's fair. My main Hopadaya take is he's no Grunkle Stan yet.
Yes.
So that's. I think he's supposed to be Grunkle Stan, but he is not.
Though, so
yeah,
I don't blame him.
Yeah. Anyone else? The mayor, he's funny.
Oh, okay. Why are there so many evil mayors in these shows.
Because
All mayors are evil, Michelle.
have
Okay.
Mayor from Gravity Falls.
Wait, he's not. Wait, hold on. He's not evil though. He wasn't presented. He was just
But he
presented
was
as
exactly
self-serving.
Mayor-
Mayor's super evil. Are you kidding me? He had all those rings on his fingers, and he wanted to start the mob. Like he's
I
definitely
guess he
a
does
bad.
start
man.
mobs. That's true.
look,
he's-
all politicians are shady by their nature. So this-
Why are there so many politicians? I just want to get away from that. It's part of my joy of escapism is not thinking about terrible people in power. And then this frog mayor comes and it's like, oh no, he's in the nice show. Okay.
He's in the nice show. When you have a medieval town, I guess you need a mayor. But I don't know. I like Stephen Root. I think it was fine. But yeah, I see this point. Yeah, I don't know if we've met anyone else to talk about besides that.
that guy who was like Cajun sounding and was playing the accordion and the our first minutes of Amphibia is just some drunk dude getting out of a bar. Okay,
Yeah.
so
That's funny.
really
Yeah.
diving you into this rough and tumble world.
Of frogs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I want to tell you about a terrible take that I had while watching the show.
Okay.
I've been saving it for the end. I just want to say I'm not proud of this take, this thought. It's more of just a thought that I was having.
Wait. Can I predict?
Well, yeah. So I teased this bad take, this bad thought that I had. Okay, so give me some predictions, Alex. Yeah.
That we can ship Anne and Sprig.
We talked about that. It's so weird that I had that thought watching it, and then when we rewatched it, Alex, you're like, "Oh, it's weird," but are people gonna ship them? They get along.
I'm not
really
the only
well.
one. I was shipping Anne and Sprig.
Why are you shipping them? They're not. Why would you ship them?
We don't
Look,
ship
They're
them.
cute.
Potential that somebody out in the internet could ship them.
Dylan, this isn't Starco.
Here's the thing. For
who
context.
says? Who
For
says?
context.
Wow.
Yeah, we
Stop
just
being
coming off the end of,
speciesist.
we're coming off the end of Star, and all I want now is more Starco. So we come into this show, and I'm I'm blindsided by these really cute friends.
Are you kidding me?
What do you mean? Am I kidding you?
This is your take?
No, my take. Well, I'm not proud of it. I'm not saying I really do ship
So
them, but I had the
just
thought while
thought
watching.
about this on our own.
You guys talked about this.
Holy-
Yeah, we
independently.
talked about this
That's
while watching it.
And then we all talked about it when we watched it the second time, and this is your hot take, so this is legit now. If more people thought about this independently, it definitely means something.
Wow, so we're not saying any of us are happy about shipping,
No,
but we all had this
definitely
thought
not
that
happy,
we could
but,
ship them.
Yeah, because
is this
again,
is this
we should
being a furry?
emphasize
Is, shipping
platonic
Anne and
friendships
Sprig,
are
Are
fine,
wonderful. Yes,
but
and
the show is just that there's steps being taken.
The problem for me is I'm not sure how old Sprig is. It's very
around your age,
unclear.
honestly.
I think they're the same age.
Yeah.
Well, do frogs age differently in it? No, but
They're close. He's got to be
what if Amphibia
13.
is all about this interspecies romance
God.
between Anne and Sprig and coming up
What if
overcoming the
at
difficulties
the end of
it?
season 20, he comes to the real world and turns into a human boy.
Well, here's
so
the
they
thing,
can kiss
Michelle.
each
Here's the
other.
thing.
Yeah.
He's a frog. You kiss the frog to turn it into a human.
Oh my
Oh God!
Dylan, so you're saying everyone was frog people, and then some of them turned into humans in the
You
human
have
world?
to kiss
They
them. You just
got
have
their
to kiss them. That's it.
Wait, does
Oh my
this mean
God.
that Anne's gonna slowly turn into a frog?
That would be a really interesting plot point. It puts a ticking clock on her getting home, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
you mentioned not having webbed feet in the last episode.
I'm telling you, Sprig is Anne's Prince Charming. He's a frog right now.
Well, related to this, is it an isekai thing of the person who's taken to another world is also the cure to a curse in the world or something? I feel like that could be a thing that happens here if we want to make Anne the special girl.
They're all humans that got transported to this world and turned into frogs because of the atmosphere, poisons them and turns them into frogs, and Anne will slowly turn into frogs. Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Wow. Okay. They're all human. Anyway, shipping Sprig and Anne. Sprig's a human boy.
You gotta figure out their
disguise.
ship name.
Okay, that's a good podcast topic. Anne's a hard name to combine with. Can we have a frog type name?
Bran.
Bran?
Can we give them a word that instead of doing the combining names? Is there a word we can give them?
Lily pad.
Yeah, lily pad shoot.
They're lily pad. Okay, I like.
But I don't. Okay, sure, lily pad.
No,
It's a work in progress title.
I just realized I was about to argue that I realized I don't care. So sure.
Okay.
Sarah, pick your battles.
Okay.
Now, if you are against this ship, there's also the alternative where you could ship Anne and Sasha.
Yeah, but
Sasha's not his
Sasha seems
friend.
toxic.
I do
to
not
him,
want to
right?
ship
Like,
that
yeah,
yet.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I'm just saying,
I
we need to provide alternatives because
Well,
there
for-
is a legitimate reason to be against the Anne Sprig
Well,
ship
but there's
too.
also the
What's that
possibility of
reason? Wait, hold on. What's
friends
that reason?
being gay for each other? Like they're toxic
Yeah,
friends that are gay.
Sasha and the other one.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Sasha could be like a Pacifica kind of parallel.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
too
look.
worked up. So if we give her like 2 or 3 seasons, maybe Sasha will come around, and then she can be Anne's boo.
For the record, the other girl's name is Marcy.
Marcy. I wonder about
yeah.
Marcy, too.
Okay, I want to get out there. I am standing Sasha already. Obviously,
She's of course you are, Dylan.
Of course
She's the
you are.
mean
She's
girl.
such a type. Yeah.
she's a Pacifica type, so I will be standing her.
Has she said a single word?
Blonde.
No, but that's not. It doesn't even take anything. I'm also already standing the mean girl from Owl House, and that shows months from premiering. But
I think
Sasha,
Sasha
you
gives
the villain lady. Yeah, she's so cool.
Not the villain,
Sasha gives
there's
the
the green
thumbs
hair.
up when Anne shoplifts. So that's
Yeah,
that's all
that's
we
good.
got.
Sasha's misunderstood.
aw.
The other one's really the bad influence, and
Oh, Dylan, let Sasha own up to her own awfulness. That's what
or
makes.
she's just a bad person. I'll stand her
Yeah,
anyway. It's
that's
fine.
really
yeah.
interesting. She's just a bad person.
And also she's like 13, so she's not really a bad person. She's just had not in a good place right now, but she can grow, right? Like
She can grow.
Yeah. Okay. So tell us why you're shipping Anne and Sprig. Give us a ship name. Are any of us willing to
No, it's
commit
your
to?
hot take. I would never have expected that.
Really? I feel like that's the obvious take I'm gonna have for the
Yeah.
show.
Oh man.
I tell you, I blame like we're coming off of Starco, and I also wanted to. I started watching Summer Camp, and I was like, oh, Oscar and Hedgehog. I'm like, oh yeah, no, don't ship them. They're not. I want to ship all the friends now in all these shows.
Don't
'cause
do that.
Starco
See,
ended.
that's why Starco.
No, don't.
Oh.
Okay, don't.
Just let
Is
me
anyone
be
is anyone willing to commit to actually shipping Anne and Sprig?
No.
Nah.
I will potentially.
Michelle? How are you almost shipping this and you didn't ship Starco? How?
It's a frog, so it doesn't matter. That's how.
What?
Okay, it's lower stakes. Okay.
Yeah,
But at least
I
the other
see.
ones were both humans.
I not ship it.
No, that's the point. Like, because this is less likely, she's more likely to ship it. Whereas a more likely ship, she'd be less likely to ship.
If Sprig was a lady, like, I don't know if that would change things. It probably would, honestly.
Lady
It'd
frog?
probably be more for it. But I'll still ship it. We'll see what happens. Maybe
Okay,
she'll turn
Michelle?
to a frog. Maybe you'll turn human. Who knows? Magic's already a thing in this
telling you,
universe,
magic
so who knows?
is Prince, I'm telling you, the fairy tale frog kissing thing, like that's a thing frogs are known for. So I feel like our ranking of who's most shipping
That seems
is
like a
police
frog
shipping.
stereotype, by the way. I don't appreciate you
I know,
just
I'm sorry.
attaching
That's
that to
okay.
the amphibians in this show.
Okay, I think Michelle's the number one supporter right now. I'll be number 2.
Yeah,
Alex, number
okay,
3, Sarah, number
cool.
4. Okay, that's my ranking of
Yeah.
Anne and Sprig.
Sarah just wants to be as far away from this as possible, which is also
Sarah's
fair.
like a distant fourth, yeah.
A distant fourth.
Okay, so tell us why you're shipping Anne and Sprig. Let's do final thoughts, Michelle, on our new ship or anything else related to Amphibia.
I want them to explore more, be it the town or the surrounding world, or to get more Sasha stuff, honestly. I want to see what's going on with her and what her attitude's like, because we've only seen her in flashback, and I want to see her in the frog world doing her own thing and making some waves.
Ooh, yeah. Is Sasha the true villain of this show?
That would be pretty cool. If she could, like, turn the whole frog society to bend to her will by being a snooty teen, like, that'd be so worth watching. I'd love that.
Yeah, what if humans have some innate power over frogs? I know that would be a Isekai type thing.
That would be the Isekai thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Anne doesn't want to use it, and Sasha wants to use it.
Yeah.
Yeah, could see that. Alex, final thoughts.
The sound of this show is just really nice. You know, the intro is obviously something I've been listening to for a long time. Like when the frogs hop, they do like a boing noise. It's like out of like a stock sound effect, but it's funny to me. And they're like, I think Polly is like eating candy. They just insert like Pac-Man noises because sure.
Yeah.
So like it's an interesting sounding show, and I am into the frogness of it. It's weird enough that I'm for it, And I think Anne will be interesting to see. I'm actually interested to see more flashbacks too, because the one flashback that we get of like them in the thrift shop, it's like in a very empty neighborhood, kind of faded colors. And you get the sense that the world she's coming from is like a bit more run down. And I think that there's some potential to dive there, to like give it a bit more of a tragic backstory too. So like I wonder,
our Earth is just empty compared to Amphibia brimming with green life and frogs.
what if she's coming from a post-apocalyptic Earth?
No, it's because all the humans on Earth went to Amphibia and got turned into frogs.
No, I like
That's
sure.
what happened.
I love that they could have some kind of like hidden ancestry between frogs and humans.
Yeah. So anyway, I think that flashback, there's definitely potential to like use that to add some juicy details to Anne's life and the other humans stuck in here. And yeah, so I'm gonna give this a shot because I think that it's a really pretty show.
Okay. Yes, agreed. Sarah, final thoughts.
I think this show has the potential to go to a lot of really interesting directions, but I will be very disappointed if we just do like essentially towny episodes in this world. Like, I want us to do something. I want us to see what's outside these mountains. I want us to go to other dimensions, maybe. That's less important, just that we see other locations. Like, I want to see that. I want us to have a little more plot. I want us to bring back Marcy and Sasha in impactful ways and have Anne be impacted by them in impactful ways. And I really don't want this stupid ship you guys are talking about.
You're the voice of reason. That's good.
I'm sorry, we don't make the rules about shipping the main characters.
I will tell you when there's a good ship in this show, and there's not one yet.
I mean, I'm not going to try to argue it is a good ship, but it is a ship.
It's a ship.
Yeah, and it is
a ship.
It is a ship that I was thinking about while watching the show. Okay. Yeah, that's my closing thoughts is it's the ship. No. No, it's I think we'll see if we the descriptions are very towny for the next few episodes. I'm interested to see how the show handles these types of stories and if it can kind of replicate some successful elements that we thought were in the premiere with these, without having explicit plot episodes. But regardless, it could go directions eventually anyway, because this is just the beginning of the show. So we will see more Amphibia next week on TV. 18th to 20th are new episodes. And then I'm not sure about the schedule after that, but I assume it will be regularly airing in some capacity. And yeah, let us know if you enjoyed our coverage, if you enjoyed this show, because that will influence our decision how regularly to have future podcasts. So please do give us feedback on this, youtube.com/overlyanimated in the comments, overlyanimated.com in the comments there, or come to our Discord and post in the Amphibia channel at overlyanimated.com/Discord. And also consider supporting us via Patreon at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Sam, aka Yosemite Sam, and thanks as always to our patron executive producers, Ryan, Steve, Alex, Beatrice, Hugh, and Michael. Check out the Summer Camp Island podcast that just went up, that just got mentioned. There's going to be an OKKO podcast. There's continued Fruits Basket coverage. All that's at overlyanimated.com. Thanks for listening, guys. We will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.